While our military mission in Afghanistan has ended, Canada's contributions to its security have not. In fact, as we committed at the 2012 Chicago Summit, starting in 2015, Canada will contribute $330 million over 3 years for the Afghan National Security Forces. Our development and diplomatic pursuits will continue to support Afghanistan's efforts to build a better future for all Afghans with President Ghani's leadership. President Ghani is a special friend of Canada, and we struck especially with the opportunity before his team. I note especially the recent initiatives that President Ghani has undertaken as Commander-in-Chief. Even more broadly, President Ghani's leadership and vision, alongside the efforts of Afghanistan's Chief Executive, Dr. Abdullah, will be instrumental in shaping a positive future for a country and a people who deserve their freedom. Earlier this year, Canadian Minister Chris Alexander led a delegation from Canada to Kabul to bear witness to the historic transfer of power in this remarkable country. He reported the strength of the new Afghan leadership and of the promising direction President Ghani intends to lead his country. Since 2001, Canada has stood alongside Afghans through 2 loya jirgas that shaped their constitution and their democratic form of government. Our soldiers have fought for the security and freedom of Afghans alongside their brave Afghan brothers and sisters. Our investments towards the education, health, and prosperity of the Afghan people have helped foster an irreversible trend that is now manifest in the will of the Afghan people. As this young country, so much of the population is under 35, emerges from decades of war, there is a clear and broad national consensus on its future direction towards modernity and equality and towards freedom and rule of law. Indeed, Canada remains committed, deeply committed to Afghanistan. We will continue to support the future of Afghan children and youth. We will solidify and expand the gains made in maternal, newborn, and child health, encouraged evermore by the tireless efforts of President Ghani's energetic wife. We will assist in providing education, enhancing civil and political participation, and the human rights and the economic empowerment of women. With this in mind, I am pleased to announce today on behalf of the Honourable Christian Paradis that Canada is renewing its support to the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission until 2018. Our effort to the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission will help to bolster Afghanistan's ability to address challenges posed by continued violence against women and girls, early child forced marriage, internally displaced people, and by those belligerent actors who seek to curtail basic freedoms. Our hope is that this support will ensure that men and women are afforded the same rights and, by extension, the same opportunities to live in a peaceful and prosperous life. President Ghani, Chief Executive Abdullah, in just 2 months, your government has used bold initiatives to reinstate optimism and hope amongst Afghans. Canada knows this hope is not misplaced. For these nascent steps to pave the path to true prosperity, we must reflect on the potential for their regional economy to grow quickly if energy, rail, and highway infrastructure are built, if borders are opened, if the rule of law is secured, and if neighbors work cooperatively for the betterment of Afghanistan in the region. In this, the Istanbul process is key, as the Afghan president has noted. Even more so are the measures designed to build confidence and to capture the region's great potential. This economic architecture will require the shared commitment and resolve of regional partners towards the true stability and security. We applaud the National Unity Government's focus. The focus on implementing vital reforms that will, over time, place Afghanistan on solid footing on the path of self-reliance. It is in this potential that Canada will support Afghanistan's national budget requirements with $135 million until 2017 through the World Bank-administered Afghanistan Reconstruction Trust Fund, the ARTF. $10 million of this contribution will be reprofiled from the ARTF and dispersed in 2014-15. In addition, Canada is proud to announce $10 million in new funds for on-budget support that will further contribute to Afghanistan's efforts. Our expectation is that ARTF will provide President Ghani and Chief Executive Abdullah the essential support they require to fulfill the reform agenda. These investments arise from the declarations that form the Tokyo Mutual Accountability Framework. We look forward to working with the National Unity Government to update the framework to take into account Afghanistan's new priority and most especially its robust reform agenda. As President Ghani said, we are guided by Afghans' efforts to build a resilient economy that encourages growth and prosperity. Canada will come as corruption recedes. Canadian leaders in financial services and extractive industries can be a resource to Afghanistan in its economic development. Recent Afghan efforts to confront corruption, including issues around Kabul Bank, are most welcome steps. Of course, any long-term sustainable growth hinges on our shared ability to help Afghanistan confront and rid the forces that have sought to stifle progress at every turn. I must note on behalf of the Foreign Minister, Minister Baird, and the Government of Canada, the crucial need to end violations of Afghanistan's sovereignty, to end interference, direct or through proxies, including by support for terror groups such as the Taliban, the Haqqani Network, Al-Qaeda, and now ISIL. It is a mad proposition that the material support for these subversive elements could ever be justified as a matter of legitimate policy, and that it is the Afghans who are paying the ultimate price for this folly. In this last year, we have seen tragic consequences of one nation that disregards the international law and interferes in the sovereignty of another from behind a thin and stunningly obvious smokescreen of deniability to annex territory and to foment instability. The safeguarding of Afghan sovereignty is no less important. Without rules, chaos will ensue. Without a repudiation of the worst practices in foreign policy, instability will prevail. Absent an end to interference and violations of sovereignty, Afghanistan's and the region's economy will remain shackled to its self-perpetuating poverty. India's Prime Minister noted during his presentation at the United Nations Assembly how there are no distinctions of terror as good terror or bad terror. There is no place in the civilized world to deploy terror as an instrument of statecraft, and no cause justifies terror as legitimate means. State or deep state, sponsorship of terror is a betrayal of our international order. For the region, Afghanistan's neighbors must end their use of terror to accomplish their dubious ends. The menace of terrorism, with all its enablers, must be confronted. Any country that is supporting these groups is no friend of Afghanistan's, of the Afghan people, or of those here today that have assembled to rededicate our efforts towards the freedom and the prosperity of the Afghan people. Excellencies, colleagues, Canada's contribution is resolute. We will remain a key partner in Afghanistan. We will work to address and overcome the challenges that still exist. President Ghani, Chief Executive Abdullah, we, Canada, look forward to working closely with you in service to the people of Afghanistan. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. God bless.